Kyle?
Yeah?
You busy?
Not really, I suppose.
Yeah, you got some free time?
Yeah, sure, what's up?
So I had a question for you. What do we do to make sure that, like, you work on the QA and testing side of things, right? What do we do to make sure the product goes out as stable and as bug-free as possible?
Well, I don't speak for everything we do, of course, but I do test automation. So the simplest way to explain that is I write scripts that make the browser do the work for me. So I use what's called Selenium with a framework called Robot Framework. It's all technically based in Python, and it allows me to manipulate the browser, locate elements, click buttons, and with all those, I can do more complicated things like make sure that login works correctly, that you get to the right screen, that you see the right system, etc. And that's how I participate in our QA process.
So basically, the test running behind you right now?
Yeah.
Is that what I'm looking at?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to run those locally, or do you run those on like a live products?
Right now it's running on a test server. I can run it locally, I can run it anywhere where the database and everything is available.
So you get a build early, you run the tests on it and make sure everything's cool. Like, what's the percentage of, like, is there like a threshold that you reach in order to say, hey, we're good? Or is it like bug-free?
I mean, ideally, my test passes 100%. But if there's something that's broken, then we either need to fix it or decide whether or not it's important enough to fix at the time. And most of the time, something like this will be pretty critical things like login doesn't work.
Yeah.
Or you can't delete a user. Like really pretty big things. This is kind of like a large size smoke test, if you will.
Yeah.
And it does a lot of the repetitive stuff that having a live person do would be not for lack of a better term, it would be fun.
But resource intensive
Yeah.
basically.
Like, for example, I can set this to run on all of our available languages. So if there's a translation issue that causes a button to break, we can find that without having to run through those 16 languages.
Yeah.
With a person live, I can set this to languages, go home for the night, and come back and see what didn't work.
Cool. So you're just constantly testing, basically.
Pretty much. I'm adding new test cases. I'm adding new things to be tested, like languages or customizations, and constantly building it. Right now, it takes about an hour to run through one language on one browser.
Yeah.
And it goes through almost 200 different test cases.
And we test like all browsers?
We're working on getting other browser support. Other browsers have different timings and stuff like that, and that can cause some discrepancies, but yes.
We test on most of the major browsers, basically.
Yeah, we should have Edge, Safari, Firefox, and Chrome covered.
Okay. So if we ever want to do Opera or Brave, you're the guy to talk to.
Yeah, I suppose.
All right, man. Thanks.
Yep.
I'll let you get back to work.
Yeah, sure thing.